Hey guys, it's been a long time. I wanted to make a video and I was wondering what to make a video on, and I've been preparing a few videos on LangChain as well. A few those will be dropping down in the coming week, but I wanted to make a short video on something, and I figured I have made a few videos on the form component by ShadCN UI and the table component which Sadman and I made, which has server-side pagination, filtering, sorting, and searching, both of which you can find in the description below. And the card above over here. But basically, I wanted to make a video which is specific, to ShadCN's UI and all things you can do with it and why I use it in my projects. So to start off, basically, if you for people who don't know what ShadCN's UI is, it is a component library. It is not, he doesn't advertise it as a component library because it is a collection of reusable components that you can copy and paste into your apps. What I mean by copy and paste is you have all the code for all the components inside your app itself, compared to something like Material UI or Bootstrap, where you would install the Bootstrap, React Bootstrap or something, and then you will import the components to your app, and those all come directly from the node modules into your app. And now you have faster experience, but you lose all the customizability, and you need to use those designs as it is. But with something like ShadCN's UI, if I have, say, the alert component, what that does is basically I have this file inside my src components directory itself. Now I can edit this however I want, right? And I have all this inside itself. Now the thing was, till a couple months back, what was happening was I love the design, I love the library, but I had the issue that I was having to copy and paste and install all the dependencies. Like if I'm using Accordion, I also need to install this Radix UI dependency. The problem with that was I was losing my speed because I'm having to copy all these one by one, and it was annoying me a little bit. But in June, CN released this CLI. All you need to do now is run this command, just add accordion, and it will install the accordion dependencies and copy paste the code inside the particular directory which your components are living in. Now what that does is it enables me to have a really good developer experience. I am not compromising on my speed with having to set all this up, and I also have all the customizability that I still want. Let's enough talking about it. Let's just start off. I got this basic Next.js app up and running. If I go into installation, you can have Next.js, Beat, Remix, Gatsby, Astro, and Manual. I'll be using Next.js for this, but you're free to use whichever one you want. All these will work the same, and it has amazing documentation. You can just go and look at those. Now I just got ran this command with pnpm, and it got me up and running with the Next.js directory, and I use the src directory. So that will basically have just my app directory for now. To get ShadCN UI up and running, all I need to do is copy and paste the pnpm command for this. It's just pnpm dlx is basically running directly the it doesn't install the ShadCN-UI inside your machine, but it runs the CLI directly. So I will use TypeScript. Now it has the option of if you want to use TypeScript or not. But I set my Next.js app such that it is using TypeScript. So I will use TypeScript, but you're free to use whichever one. Styles. Now this is an amazing update which came out just recently. If I look at the styles, basically what it has is, they are, it as it says, it's a different visual foundation based on which the component is created. It has two default ones now, sorry, two styles now, the default and the New York, more coming soon. Basically, if you look at this, the visual foundation is a little different. Default one has a little bigger components. The heading is bigger. The all these inputs are a little bit bigger, and the spacing over here is a little higher in the default one, and over here it's a little smaller, and the cards has shadows and this one doesn't. And if you look at it, it has a basic differentiation between the difference between the two. Let's not zoom in too much, you won't be able to see much then. So you can use any you want. New York is very nice. It provides a little bit a bit of a minimalistic approach in a few cases, and it's just personal preference, whatever you want to use, and you're of course you have the customizability in your hands later. I'll use default for now. You can have a different base color for your application. Basically, what that is if I look at the change log only, base color. Basically, you can choose from these five. This provides base to your components. So if you have, say, slate as the base color, your text can be slate 50 or slate 100, and your component, the card can be slate 800, and switch it to the other side for the light mode. And all these things will be directly inside your components depending on what color you're using. I'll use slate for now, but you're obviously free to use whichever one. Global CSS file minus inside the src directory, so src slash tab slash globals dot css. Was it globals or global? Yeah, global. Globals dot css. Can I use CSS variables or not? Another very, very interesting thing. If I look at the changelog, CSS variables, choose between CSS variables. Basically what that does is you can either use utility classes for your components or you can use CSS variables. Now, if you're using utility classes, it will directly use the tailwind utility class which you have set. Now, say if you've used slate, it will use slate 950, and dark, it will use this. But if you're using CSS variables, it will set these inside your CSS variables and use background and foreground. What this enables you to do is you can, if you have multiple, say a primary color which you want to add to a certain cases, right? What you can do in this case is you can use CSS variables, and you can just set a particular variable to be a particular color, and then use that inside your application. Or if you want the the utility classes approach, you can use that as well. So to use CSS variables, all you need to do is set CSS variables to true inside your components.json, but since we're using the CLI, I'll just say yes for now. Tailwind config is over here, that's fine, and all this is fine with me. I'll be using RSCs, that is fine. Right configuration, you can select components.json, yes. So basically, if you want to use the same configuration in another application, just copy and paste the components.json over there, and if you run the CLI over there in it, it will just take all those from there. I'm assuming it takes from there, and sets your application up. Now if I look at it, let's look at the src directory now. All right, I have a components and lib folder. Let me just get this up. But basically, I have this components library directory now, which is basically now just khali, empty. But you will, if you select the add CLI now, it will add a component over here. So if I look at the lib, it just it's just a utility function with the TW merge. Basically what this does is merges multiple classes together. You can see that inside the components itself. For example, if I look at the accordion one, I am assuming it will have something. Yeah, it's using CN over here, and if I go over here, it's basically merging these two. In this case, it's basically what it has these base styles which is adding, and you can obviously add the multiple class names on top of this, which will merge these two. It is very useful for conditional classes as well, so very useful in that case. Oh yeah, I had this open. I didn't show it, but basically the ShadCN UI is built on top of Radix UI. It is unstyled, accessible. It provides primitives basically, and it is built on top of that, so it is very accessible to start off with. You know what? let's get something up and running. If I look at the app/page.tsx, this is already using this. Let me kill whatever is on this and npm dev. Let's open this. I'm using Arc now, trying to use Arc now, but yeah, it's pretty cool for now. Let's see. I'll use it for a couple weeks and then find out what my views are on it. Now, basically, why is this light mode again? That's interesting. Interesting. Oh, I think they changed it too. Anyways, if I look at the globals.css, which has come from this is all set by ShadCN UI. So it has the background, the foreground, the muted foreground, the popover card, all these set up already. Layer base, it is just setting these two to whatever is over here. Now the BG background is being set to this because if I look at the background, it is setting two for background and foreground like this. Now you can use, if I look at the theming over here, dark mode over here, you can use next themes and set dark mode, whatever one you want. What that will do is basically help you in switching between the two. I won't do it because it it's a tutorial. I don't want to take that much time in running through it, but to just check out how dark mode is, you can go to app/layout, and over here, let's just add dark over here. So if I go back, and now I should have dark mode over here. Cool, right? So what basically next themes does is basically just adds and not adds the dark mode based on which one is being chosen over here, right? So to start off with, let me just get something very quick up and running. I'll remove whatever is on the home page. I've been speaking very slow today, but I've gotten a feedback that I should, so I will. Just if you want to speed run through this, just run this video on 2x. That's fine. I'll remove everything which is over here. Let's remove this thing, and now let's see what do we want over here. Let's get a basic, let's get the alert. Let's get this alert inside our application. Now all I need to do is just get this command and run this command npm-dlx shadcn-ui at latest, and then add the alert component. It might take a second or two to get those ready. So basically it says ready to install components and dependencies. If you can't see that over here, can I zoom in? Oh yeah, that still works. Okay, that works. And that was just, I just had to do a yes and see how quick that was. And now I'll show you the difference it made. If I go to my components directory now and UI, it should have this alert. Now see this, alright? Basically, it has this relative, vfull, wfull, all these utility classes over here, and it has these variants. You can choose basically which one you want to use. If I look over here, say if I want the destructive one, all I need to do is set variant to destructive, and over here by default it's default, right? So it's setting the variables over here. It is using CVA for this class variance authority, a very cool library you can use inside your application without ShadCN UI library as well. But it basically allows you to have these variants inside your application. It sets default variant to variant as well, right? So I have these two over here. Variant is basically the prop. Alright, so variant which is being passed over here is the prop, and these are all the variants inside our application. You can have size, you can have say color, all those things over here. Now they're taking the this forward ref utility component which React provides, and basically it takes the ref and forwards it directly. It's for that, makes it accessible in one sense. I won't go too deep into what that does. But basically it's using the alert title, which is just again, an HTML, and all these are used inside a alert component directly, and you don't need to even think about what all things are happening over here. But if you want to customize it, you can. Now notice the fact that this is using the custom CSS variables. So this BG background is basically coming from globals.css, the background which is being used, and well, the tailwind.config. If I see background, it is basically taking this var background from here. Now see, I have a primary as well. All these things are set over here for your HSL. Now I don't think primary is being used inside my alert, but some components are there which might use your primary. For example, I'm not sure if this uses as well, I'm just seeing it. Yeah, so you can use a primary over here. The primary, basically the thing is, does it? Oh wait, code, manual. Yeah, see, this is using the BG primary, and basically this color right now, if I see, I'm not sure if I can. Yeah, HSL works. What the? Do I need to add a degree or something? I have no idea how to do this. Oh my god. HSL color picker. Here, okay. Hopefully. Okay, apparently that is invalid. That's weird. Primary. It is using that directly. Oh, HSL. That should be fine. Apparently not. I have no idea, but basically what that is doing is it is taking this and then setting that. Does anyone know why this is not working? Please write it down in the comments, because I actually have no idea on why this is not working. Let's try this finally. Okay, this might actually work. Here. Let's see the primary one. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Okay, that works. Yep. Okay, so we have this primary over here. This is the one which is being used in the dark mode. Okay, basically that. So you can set it to primary, secondary, whatever you want, and it will work accordingly. Basically, if I look at the so you can change this and use some other primary color over here. You know what, I'll actually set up a button and show you how that works. Basically, let's look at the alert for now. All I need to do to use this component now is inside my page. Let's have a div which just has a class name of p for a border rounded, just to demarcate that this is over there. And all I need to do is just say alert and auto complete it. It comes from component/UI/alert, and you can have whatever you think you want over here. Now remember the fact that this component had three things actually: the title and the description as well along with it. So if I look at the alert now, it basically uses these two over here. So you can add any classes you want inside these. All the components inside this has a class name property, and you can add multiple class names inside this, like with your tailwind or whatever global CSS you have as well. So all that did was this amazing heads up component has been done. And also notice the fact that I use the border component over here and rounded. So if I say add a class name of p4 to this. You can see that clearer. This border is directly using that border class which is being used over here. So that is amazing as well, because now I it is using this color over here. So yeah, that is why that is happening. Now let's look at the button, because I want to talk about customizability as well. So let's look at let's add the button component. All right. Sorry if I'm a little stuttering today, because I didn't plan this video a lot, but yeah, clear that. All I need to do is add the button. In a second or two, it will ask me if I want to install the dependencies and just click on buy, and it should be there in a couple seconds, and done. Now I have this button over here. It has all these things over here. You can go through this file if you want. I won't talk about it a lot, but you have the variants. You can have destructive outline, secondary ghost link. Secondary basically uses the secondary color. Primary uses the primary color, which is being set in the globals.css. You can set size to default SM, LG. SM is a little smaller, LG is a little bigger, and icons will have a square button basically. And by default, variant is default and size is default. All I need to do for this, again, let's copy and paste this. You can use a card component instead of this div if you're using, but I just wanted to get something quick. If I look button, and it gets that from there. Let's just say button for now, and if I go back, I have this button over here. Let's also add an empty of 4. I have this button over here. I can play around with this, say add a variant of secondary to this, something like that. Let's add a flex and a gap to 2. Yeah, but like that. You can have destructive. You can also add a size if you want, say LG. That will make the button a little bigger than the normal one. And say what other was there. You can have a link as well and make this smaller. Stuff like this. But what I wanted to show was, I saw a comment from someone about how to make ShadCN UI customizable. I haven't tried this before, but I am just guessing all you need to do here is change this value. So I'm using the dark mode over here, so I'll go down. Basically, what you need to do is, if I want a different one over here, what I can do basically is, if I go over here and select some color, say something like that as my primary color. I just got something up randomly, but if I basically use this and set this to be my primary, I don't need the commas, but I think it's optional, but yeah. So it is already using this over here. If I just go back, it's using that, and that just made it so much more customizable, because now you can just change the CSS variables and it will use that. Say I wanted to change the secondary, all I had to do was change that. Say this foreground is not very nice looking with this. Say I want white. I'm not very good with HSL, but just bear with me here. I think all I need to do is change that to yeah. That was all it took to customize all my components with my primary color, because obviously multiple components will be using that over here. For example, let's say I'm pretty sure say my switch, I'm pretty sure a switch has the primary color, or maybe not. Yeah, there probably are other components over here which are using it. You can obviously look at those and customize them however you want. And Because you have the CSS variables now, just change it in one place and all the primary colors are changed everywhere. Now that is how cool this library is. I hadn't actually customized anything before, and this was a very new experience for me, but I'm very, very impressed with how fast that was. I got this up and running, and this is just, it gets you to the extent where you can use ShadCN UI, but it will still look different than other like websites which are using this UI. Okay, so that's probably it for this video. You can go around and look at all these different things. You can look at all these different components. So say I have this progress. Obviously, if you want to change this progress, and use the primary color, you can go over here and change this to, oh, this is using primary. So if I was using this progress, this will obviously use my primary color. So all these things, just go around, tinker around with it. What I'll suggest is also follow ShadCN on Twitter, and you will find out some amazing tweet. He retweets a lot of things which are being used. Oh, I found this amazing auto form, and this is actually very cool. So it gets you with a form up and running with just a Zod schema, which is also very interesting to see. And all these things, you can go around and check these out. And that is it for this video. For more such content, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll be getting up with some new videos soon. And please keep watching, and goodbye.